Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to do a quick test to make sure everything's working. Can everybody see me everywhere? Can everybody hear me? Ooh, hey, you turn that down. Alex. Alex is here with me this morning. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. Our presentation starts off day 2 of presentations for the Great Bead Extravaganza. If you don't know me, my name is Abby, and I'm with the Bead Place. We are a brick and mortar bead store in Fairview Heights, Illinois, which is about 15 minutes from downtown St. Louis, Missouri. So today, because this is a Tucson themed presentation, we are going to be showing you how to use our art metal components by Anju line, which is the line that some of you might be familiar with us by from our booths at the Bead and Button Show and in Tucson. So what we have done in the past at our booths in Tucson is we've demonstrated a variety of ways to use our art metal components line. So let me introduce you to our line. So Alex, if you could switch over to the hand cam, and I'm going to bring some of these over. So our art metal, oh, is this upside down? It's upside down. So our art metal components line, can they see that okay? Awesome. Is a line of artisan crafted charms and pendants by Anju Gaurav, who is a designer from India who, last I checked, resides in Georgia. So she has handcrafted and carved all of these beautiful designs. We were lucky enough to meet her family in Las Vegas a number of years ago. And we just fell in love with her pieces. So we invested in their company, and she's a Finnish jewelry designer. And we said, hey, we love what you do and we want to work with your pieces. Can you make some of those for us? And so the rest is history. So they are lead and nickel free pewter that have been electroplated with, oh, I need to be showing you more. Can you take this tray from me? They have been electroplated with fine silver, brass, and copper. And then they have, let me move that. These are some of our charms. They have an anti-tarnish coating. So what's awesome about that anti-tarnish coating is that it prevents wear. It obviously prevents tarnish, but it prevents wear. And then it also provides the best surface for applying surface patinas and colorants. So because these pieces are so soft, they're pewter, you can easily punch holes in them, work with them in a number of different ways. So hi, everybody. Yeah, they are different. So if you're a bead store watching, we do wholesale this line, but they might be available at your local bead store if you are watching from home, and then also they're available on our website. So we're going to do like speed dating, but for project tutorials today. We're not going to be completing anything probably, but I'm just going to walk you through a number of tutorials and techniques actually for how to use our projects, or how to use our products. So when I'm nervous, I get a little shaky and sweaty. So I'm going to try not to drop everything. So this is the first project that we're going to be doing today. I want to make sure that we are in focus and everybody can see. Yay, awesome. So this is actually a stretchy bracelet. You might have noticed that it does not have a clasp. So we are going to be making a beautiful stretchy bracelet out of these beautiful seafoam, icy English cut beads. So if you participated in our poll that we did in the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group, we asked you to pick 1 through 5 for these beautiful English cut beads. Alex, could you drop the English cut beads link in the chat, please? Thank you. We asked you to choose what your favorite was, and it was really close between the mixed metal and the seafoam. But I'm pretty sure the seafoam won, or at least it did last night when I tallied up the votes. So what we're going to be doing is using opelon stretch cord, and we're going to make a really quick bracelet with these pieces. All right, so this is one of our leaves in line pendants. I know it looks like a bunch of charms linked together, but it's actually a pendant. So you can use it to just attach in the center of a necklace. You can drop it down for beaded links, or you can bring strands up each side, just with regular jeweler's wire or knotting silk, really anything. But I'm going to show you a quick and fun way to make a stretchy bracelet out of it. Also, you can separate these and use them as individual charms. So I think I've decided, do I want to do the brass? No, let's do the copper today. So what I'm going to be doing, aren't they? Yeah, sorry, I'm responding to comments that I'm seeing come through. Nile, they're beautiful, aren't they? So we're going to be using opelon for this project. Now, there are a number of stretchy cords out there that probably could work for this project. However, I really highly recommend opelon. And Alex, can you drop the opelon link in the chat, please? Thank you. I highly recommend opelon because it is like one of those multi... Which one's that? If you scroll up, it's probably the top one. Right there. Thank you.
So they'd be in order.
I'm sorry, they're not in order. I don't know what I'm all over the place. Anyway, so this is a multi-fiber stretch cord that stretches way farther than a lot of the other stretch cords. So I like to use this one for my projects where it's going to need to stretch really far. And you might be thinking, well, it's not stretching really far because it just needs to get on over your wrist. Well, the reason why it's stretching more than usual on this is because this part is not stretchy. So all the stretch has to come from only half of the bracelet in order to get it on over your wrist.
Someone was saying if you could hold the leaf up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so this, I'm using our ginkgo leaf pendant. Let me get it a little closer. Alex, yep, he got it. So there's holes on either side of each of these beautiful ginkgo leaves. So they're basically like links that are hooked together. They're hand lashed together. And so we have matching charms for all of these as well. And I don't know, Alex, if you can grab that matching charm right there, the second one down from the top. Thank you. So we've got beautiful charms with movement. Isn't that cool? So matching charms for a lot of the pendants in our line. So what we're going to do first is cut ourselves a big long length of opelon. And I'm just using a regular thread snips to cut these. You want to make sure you're using a sharp scissors or a thread snip in order to make sure that you don't get like a frayed end on the opelon. And so what I'm going to start out doing is I'm just going to thread one of the sides of my opelon through. Can you see that? I'm threading right through the end of my link and I'm pulling it to the middle. So I've got my opelon doubled like that. And I'm right through one of the sides here. Now, of course, you can add spacers. You can just get really kind of...
Will there be supply lists and instructions for the projects you are doing today?
There is a featured products category on our website that shows all the products that we're using today. And then we can go back in and add the individualized links for the projects that we're using today. But everything is already categorized on our website. And Alex, can you drop it's in the description of this video, the direct link to the featured products. So the art metal components are already in one category on our website, and the link is in the description of this video. And then also the featured products outside of our art metal components line are also added on the website in a separate category, but we'll go back in and add those individual links after the fact as well. So, pardon me. I learned of a really cool new tool. I'm really excited about this. This is a stretch cord needle. Does the
opelon come in clear? And also, how would I email you?
We can go back and respond to that after the stream with our email address and everything. But the opelon, as far as I know, it just comes in white. There's a couple other brands of similar fibers that come in or similar long fiber stretch cord that come in different colors, but really opelon is my favorite. I prefer it to the other brands. So what we're going to do with this really cool elastic needle is we're going to just string all of our beads onto it. So on one side, there is a circle and that just stops our beads from falling off. And on the other side, there's a hook. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's a hook, and that's how we're going to get our beads on to the stretch cord. So our first thing is we're just going to string our beads directly onto the needle. And so these elastic bracelet needles are also available in our web store, and Alex is going to drop the link in the chat. So what's awesome about this needle is that I don't know if any of you have ever worked with stretch bracelets before where you're using larger beads. No. Scroll down. It's that one, stretch cord needles. If you're using larger or hollow beads, it's kind of tricky to get the stretch cord through that bead. It kind of just wants to wiggle all over the place. This is a straight line, and it allows you to pull the stretch cord through. Right. So I'll show you how it works.
You use wire guardians at each end?
You totally can, but I don't want to for this. I think that the quality of our metal components line is nice enough that wire guardians are not necessary. And because when the opelon is stretched, it's pretty transparent. You kind of can't see it at all. So it's up to you. You can. I'm not, just for the simplicity of this project, but I mean, you can do what you want to do. So now that I've got all my beads strung, what I'm going to do is grab the end of my opelon cord and see my beads aren't going anywhere. They're stuck on there. I'm going to hook the very end of my opelon cords. It's doubled, remember, so I've got those two ends. I'm going to hook that through the hook on the end of my needle. Now I'm going to slide my beads down, and I'm just going to pull them over the hook end and onto my opelon. See how cool that is? Alex, the camera just beeped. Are we good?
Yep.
That scared me. We were joking about how some of us are, specifically me, technology cursed. So sometimes you might find an odd bead that just doesn't want to go on, and that's okay. I would recommend not forcing it because this needle is very, very thin.
Where do I get that needle? Wow.
From us. You get that needle from us. So Alex dropped the link in the chat already. And if you go to the link in the description, if you missed it, you'll find it in our TGBE Tucson category. So we just work them right over the opelon. And like I said, don't force it because you'll break the end of that needle if you force it.
Does that needle work for cord like C-ion?
C-line? S-line? Yeah, it totally will. Yeah, Cindy, it does. The trick is you just don't want to have the S-line doubled. The reason why it works so well for stretch cords is because the stretch cords get smaller as they stretch. And so the hook here, oh, I should use a better shot there. The hook here is very small. So, and if you don't want to use this needle, by all means, just put the stretch cord through the beads the way you normally would. It's almost as fast. Just, you know, it might take a couple of tries to get both cords through, but that's okay. So see, you can thread it through without the needle. No worries. Now, I do want to warn you that with a couple of the finishes, really on any beads, but specifically the check glass beads, ones that have like a luster finish or an icy finish like this, sometimes that will kind of clog the holes of your beads. So in that case, you might want to go in and kind of clear out the holes with a reamer, but you'll be fine.
Should you pre-stretch the cord?
You know, with cords like Stretch Magic, I highly recommend that. For opelon, yes. However, it's not as necessary. I like to stretch it as I'm tying the knot with opelon, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. So you can see here, I hope. Can they see here? Yeah. So you can see here that I've got my ginkgo leaves at the bottom, and then I have my opelon doubled here. I've got a loop right there. and then my 2 ends on the other side. So what I'm going to do now is take one of my opelon strands out of that last bead. I'll show you in just a second. So I'm going to take my 1 strand out like this. And then what I'm going to do is take the one that's still going through my last bead, and I'm going to put that through the other side hole right here. You see that? So now what I can do is get a clean finish. And so this is why I'm doubling that opelon. What I'm going to do is stretch the opelon here to make it thinner, to make this next step easier. I'm going to take the side that I've put through the ginkgo leaf. I'm going to put it right back through that last bead there. And so now I have 2 beautiful clean loops on both sides of the ginkgo leaf. And so when I stretch this and tie the knot, I'm going to tie the knot right here. You see that? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to tie the knot right here. My knot isn't right here in the very front where it's visible and possibly unsightly. So the reason why we have that opelon doubled is so that we've got 2 clean loops on either side, and we don't have to have a knot here and a knot here. And then also, I mean, there's nothing stronger than a doubled cord, right? It's always good to reinforce. So now what I'm going to do is take these 2 ends and just tie them together. You can do a square knot or a surgeon's knot. And now here's where I like to kind of stretch that cord and make sure everything's honky-dory. So I stretch right with my first step. Don't laugh at me.
Tricky. No, somebody said tricky Ricky.
Oh, yeah. So then I'm going to go back in for my second knot after, or my closure to my first knot after I've pre-stretched. I guess it's not pre-stretching if we're doing it mid-project, but it does the same thing. Another reason why I like to do it that way is because opelon doesn't have that that like memory that, well, it has a better memory that Stretch Magic and other cords do. So it has a rebound that likes to pull it back into position. So now if I wasn't going to keep working with this, what I would do is apply a little bit of glue on the knot. Not going to do that now because I don't want to have glue all over my fingers, but let's just pretend that I did. You can use hypo cement, you can use E6000, whatever you want to do, and then just kind of tuck a bead over the top of the knot. So instead of trying to poke that knot into the bead with like a piece of wire or whatever, I like to stretch my cord and then just slide a bead over the top of it. And then it's really easy to tuck. So then we've got an awesome stretchy bracelet. I usually tie at least 2, but it depends on how big the holes are in the beads that I'm using. So if I've got if the beads have big holes, not if I have big holes, if the beads have big holes, I'll tie more knots. But really what's going to hold it all together is the glue. So the glue is the secret, the key ingredient to holding your knots and your stretch cord bracelets together. So if you are not confident with your knot tying, no worries, because the glue will save you. Okay, so now what we're going to do, oh, I shouldn't have stretched that so much, but I'm working fast. Anyway, now what we're going to do is some fun tricks for surface patina.
Will the needle work for your Tila stretch?
Yeah, it totally will. Oh, you know what? I don't know the millimeter size of those Tilas, of the holes of the Tilas. I'll test it out and get back to you. That's a good question. But the big eye needles work really well for that too. Yeah. Okay. So can you get me the discount code for Christy?
Yep.
Thank you. So the next thing that we're going to do is talk about how we can apply color to these charms.
Yes.
So nope, that's okay. Just have it up. So there are a number of different ways that we can apply some fun colorants to these. They're beautiful on their own. However, you can always take it up a notch if you want to. So there are a couple of different products that we can use, and we'll talk about the other ones a little bit later. But if you are not into metalworking and don't want to go all out in the surface patinas and gilder's paste and all of those products, I'm going to show you something that you can do easily at home. We're going to use fingernail polish. So if you don't have a matte finish or a like an anti-tarnish finish that's already on your products, I don't recommend fingernail polish because it will crack off very quickly and very easily. However, if you've got just the right mix of products on your pendants or charms, fingernail polish works super well. So you can see I've used this really pretty red color on these. Can I get a screen of what they're seeing? Thank you. So you can see I've used this red color on these. I'm going to use this kind of mermaid color just to apply a coat of color just right across some of these leaves. And I'm going to do this quickly because I know nobody really needs to watch me paint this, but I just want to show you how easy and quick it is to apply some different looks to your jewelry and kind of take it up a notch. Now, a couple of coats works just fine, but I kind of like doing just one coat just to give it a little bit of a fun look. Now, again, if you don't have just the right finish, this may or may not work. So experiment, have fun.
See the stretch thread for the screenshot?
Not sure what you mean, but we'll get back to that in just a sec. So you can see that we can add just a fun layer onto your work with a variety of materials, including fingernail polish. Okay, on to the next project. I'm going to quickly clean up my material. Oh, did you mean you want to see what this looks like? So this is what it looks like. Here we go. All right, Alex, we're going to do a switcheroo. I'm going to hand you this stuff, and we are going to switch to the next project. And we'll try to come back through and answer questions after the fact. So please don't feel like we're ignoring you. Can I hand you this? And we're going to switch over to our riveting. All right, so we are not going to complete a project from here on out, but I'm going to show you some really fun techniques, and I'm going to try not to drop everything.
Will Sharpies work on those beads?
Yes, but not as, it's not going to be as permanent. Fingernail polish provides like a sealed like lacquer finish. You can use Sharpies, but you can go ahead and use like a spray finish over the top. But of course, test it, experiment with it, have some fun. So if you saw our previews, you probably noticed this really cool wrap bracelet. So we are so lucky to know some creative people in our area. We connected with someone who works in the industrial upholstery industry. And so their upholstery sample cards that they show large corporations like hotel lines and things like that, they all get thrown away and go in landfills whenever the fabrics expire. So we were like, we're not going to have that. Let's make bracelet blanks out of them. So we've got a really cool wide variety of recycled. Oh, we'll talk about that later. You have to watch for that. We'll talk about that product later. We have hand cut really beautiful bracelet blanks as well. And they fit beautifully with the Tierra Cast riveting lines. So Tierra Cast has some beautiful leather straps as well. And we tried to have them in stock. However, the mail is really delayed in the St. Louis area right now, so they are not here yet, but they're available for pre-order on our website right now. You can check them out online. So what we're going to be doing is some riveting. So what we've done for this project is we've punched holes in our art metal component lines, and then we've used the Tierra Cast riveting and eyelet setting tools to create a really fun wraparound bracelet. So you can get super creative with this. You can use fabric, you can use sheet metal, you can use glue instead of rivets if you want. You can wire lash. You can just, you know, get as creative as you want. But I'm going to be showing you really easy, simplified versions of a lot of these metalsmithing techniques that might be new to you. So TierCast has this really cool setup, and all of these products are available on our website, specifically in the TGBE Tucson event category. And Alex is going to drop some of those category links for you as I talk about these tools. So this is their maple setting block. And in the maple setting block, I've got my eyelet anvil. And watch what this does. You can turn it. And this is dirty, I'm sorry. We're going to turn it and flip it over. And we've got an eyelet setting side. And then we're going to turn it and flip it over. And we've got a flat side. I also have a variety of the actual setting tools here. I've got an eyelet setter, and that one has this little nipple on the end of it that matches perfectly with the eyelet setting side of our anvil. And then for the riveting, we've got a domed cap here on our setting tool. And that's going to keep the domes of our rivets domed. So I'm going to show you what that means. So on this bracelet here, and Alex is going to do his best to get it focused for you. On this bracelet here, we have two different cold connection types. We have eyelets, which are these, and then we've got rivets, which are the ones that have these domed caps here. So the eyelets for this particular line are a one-part eyelet. So they already have a flared bottom to them, and I'm going to show you how to flare the top. The rivets are a two-part compression rivet. Now, if you're familiar with other eyelets and other rivets, that's great. You can use those products, but for this, I'm showing you the easiest and most concise way to get started, and this is my preferred line for eyelets and rivets. So let's go. I'm going to be using one of our 28-inch lengths of our recycled upholstery vinyl. This is in our black faux leather finish. I have a 1.8 millimeter hole punch pliers here. This is also available on our website. What I'm going to do is fold this over about a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to punch a hole through it about a 1/2 inch back. A little bit in from the end. So I'm going to punch right here. Now the rivets are just the right size for this 1.8 millimeter punch when we're going through fabric and leather. It's a tight fit through the fabric and leather, and we want that because we don't want the cap of the rivet to slip up through. Now when we're punching through the metal, we might use the 1.8 millimeter punch, or we might use a wider punch, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But what I'm going to do is grab my rivets and show you what I'm talking about. How am I doing on time? Oh, perfect. Awesome. So this is, can we make sure we're focused? Thank you. This is a rivet set. So you can see here, we've got the female side of the rivet and the male side of the rivet. The male side of the rivet is what goes on the bottom, and the female side of the rivet is the cap that goes on top. So you can see better pictures of these on our website. I know Facebook often kind of degrades the quality of what you're seeing, so we see it a little more clearly than you do on our screen, but you can go back in and check.
4mm rivets?
Yes, this is the 4mm rivet, and that's what we're working with today. We're using 4mm rivets and approximately 4mm eyelets. When you see them on our website, you'll see it as, I think, a 3.7mm eyelet, but it's close enough to 4. So you'll notice sometimes when we punch holes in our leathers or vinyls, we'll have like an exit wound, and we're just going to clear that out to make sure we've got a smooth finish. So I just like to take a flush cutter and kind of clear that exit wound out. So I'm going to take my clasp now. We've got some really cool clasp options. These are E-hooks, and they're a product by TierCast as well. And they allow you to just have a loop on one end and a hook on the other. So we've got an empty loop and then the E hook, and that's how we close it. That's my favorite way of finishing it. Now, we also have these really cool tips that go on the end of your straps, and they allow you to attach a clasp of your choice. So we could use this and just attach it here, and then use a jump ring and connect whatever kind of clasp you want. But today we're just going to keep it simple for time's sake, and we're going to do one of these. So we are going to hook that in through the closed side. Can I get a shot of what I'm doing on the screen, please? Thank you. We're going to hook that in through the closed side. We're going to fold that strap back over. We're going to put the items on the male side. And I know you guys can't see this super well, so I'm going to lift it up and show you. And where to focus? Can you manually focus? Thank you. So you can see we've got the male side down, the flat side is at the bottom, and then it's coming up through the top. Now what I'm going to do is take the female side and just put that right on top of the male side and kind of click it down.
How durable and safe are the E-hooks?
Oh, they're perfect as long as you put them on in the right direction. Sometimes what can happen is you put them on upside down and then that strap just falls right out. But if you have it so that this is at the bottom, it won't fall out. Also, it helps if your bracelet is sized appropriately to your wrist size. But yeah, they're very safe. Just watch the size of your empty loop. You kind of have to find the right balance to make it tight enough that it doesn't want to just, do its own thing, but loose enough that it's easy for you to get it on and off. Okay, so we are going to rivet now. So I have my 4mm rivet setter. You see how it has that nice domed top here? You can technically get by without this. You can hammer directly on this rivet head, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're going to get rid of that beautiful smooth finish and you might miss. So that's not good. Now, guys, audio warning, I am going to be hammering. So if you're wearing headphones, watch out. But we've got the table as padded as we can so that it doesn't get too crazy. All right, you ready for the bounce? Basically, what we're going to do is set that rivet setter right on top of the rivet. And I'm going to use a hammer. This is just a small stamping hammer. You can use a regular hardware store hammer that you have at home. That works just fine. So what I'm going to do is brace my pinky down here at the bottom. Make sure that this is straight up and down. Because if it's angled, you might not do a successful rivet. And then what I like to do is start with my hammer actually on the top of the setting tool. Lift up. Ooh, everything bounced. And start hammering. Now, if I had a flat surface rather than a padded surface here, this would be maybe a couple whacks and it's done. But because I've got so much fabric underneath here, I'm going to give it a couple more whacks. What? Oh, sorry, guys. I hope no one's getting seasick. So this is what it looks like. We did a perfect rivet. Lucky me. Tracy from TierraCast taught me this in Tucson, probably like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago at this point. So I owe it all to Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. So we've got a good set rivet. A way that you can check is to kind of put your fingernails underneath there and kind of pick at it or see if it's like spinning real loose. But what's really cool about these rivets is, it's a 2-part compression rivet. Once you set it, the inside of the male side kind of like expands and locks into the female side. So that's it. It's set. Now, because we're using vinyl and also when we use metal, we do not need a washer on the back of this. But let's say we're using fabric like this. See how I've got these washers on the back side of this and also the front? If you're using fabric to rivet through, I would always recommend placing a washer down first before you place your items onto the rivet or the eyelet. Because when you have large stuff that's on here, when you're wearing it, that can get pulled. And eventually that little rivet backing or eyelet backing can work its way up through the fabric. So there are such, oh, I'm sorry. There are such cool products that are brought out by TierraCast, and we have the perfect size washers in all the different metal colors that will work for your projects. Oh no, and my little jars are dumping out. Okay, we're gonna set an eyelet now. So we're gonna be working with metal and eyelets. So what we're gonna do now is flip that over, set it up so that the nipple side of the anvil is facing up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying not to laugh. Anyway, now if I was doing this to make a bracelet that I was taking more time to work on, I would like wrap this around my wrist and get the perfect placement and all that. But for now, I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to punch a hole right here where I'm going to place one of my pieces. I'm going to trim the back off, and I'm going to grab one of my pieces that I'm going to rivet on, or set an eyelet on. So this is, I think, our Desolate Land piece, if I'm remembering correctly. And this is from our art metal component line again. So what I'm going to do, see, I've got a hole on this side already. Let me bring it closer so you guys can see. See, I've got a hole on that side already. That hole's not big enough for our eyelets and for our rivets. So what I'm going to do is punch over that with my 1.8 millimeter hole punch pliers. These have gauge guard on them, these tools, so you can adjust this to make sure you're not over punching. But I'm just going to eyeball it. There we go. So you can punch right through it. Now, let's say you punch a hole and it's not big enough. So the 1.8 likely won't be big enough. You can use...
What is the metal piece you just flipped called, and do you sell it?
The metal piece I just flipped. Yeah, the riveting tools. Yes. So this is the eyelet setting anvil. We sell these separately from the maple blanks. Alex, could you drop this? The setting tools right there. So Alex is going to put a link in the description for the all the setting tools. The maple block we sell separately from all the other tools. It's not necessary. However, it allows you to flip this eyelet setting anvil over into a flat surface to do rivets. If you just wanted to do rivets, you don't need these pieces. You can just use a bench block. Or just like a hard metal flat surface. But this system allows you to flip these components and use it, you know, it's just more bang for your buck that way. So, and we can talk a little bit more about that after the presentation. I am needing to hurry up. So, couple different tips and tricks. If you do not want to invest in a ton of tools, you can make this easier on yourself and use a 2-hole punch to get just the right size holes. However, if you just want to use your hole punch pliers and you've got a 1.8, which is the most popular size, you can use a bead reamer and ream that hole out.
A replay of this video.
Yeah,
suggest for YouTube.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You can watch replays of this directly in the group. It'll be available. And then you can also watch it on YouTube. So we've got a YouTube channel with over 100 free tutorials. And then it's available for all those projects as well. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I assume that's you, Tracy, who's responding from TierraCast. I appreciate you doing a better job than me of succinctly explaining how these products work. So you can use a bead reamer like what I just did to get a size big enough to drop an eyelet through. Another tip that I can share with you is you can actually use your cutter. And I think Tracy taught me this trick too. You can just use your cutter to kind of eat some of that metal out of there to get it so that it's the perfect size. So I'm going to grab one of my eyelets now. And just to show you what I was talking about with the whole washer thing, I'm going to put a washer behind my work. And I'm going to use a black one so you can see the difference in the colors. Now, guys, if we don't get to our last project today, what I'm going to do is make a YouTube video showing how to do the projects that we teased in our previews. So this is an eyelet. And Alex, if you can make sure we are as clearly focused as we can be.
You can stop shaking.
No, I can't stop shaking. I'm nervous. So this is an eyelet. This is the 3.7 millimeter size. We do have other sizes, but this is the size that I'm showing you today. So this is just a tube that has a flared end. So that allows us to make, where did it go? Where did it go? That allows us to make something like that. Something that you could theoretically put a chain through, like this project, or just have that cool negative space look. So what I'm going to do is check to make sure that my eyelet fits through my hole that I've made here. Oh, not quite. A little bit more reaming to go.
Ruth Leach said, great job, Abby and Alex.
Oh, thanks, Ruth. Hope you're doing well. We miss you. Ruth is one of our fabulous instructors here at our brick and mortar bead store. She does incredible wire work. All right. So there we go. So you can see now, always a good idea to check to make sure that your eyelets and rivets fit through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got my setting tool lined up so that the nipple side is up. I'm going to place my eyelet right there. I like to go with the flared side down. You could do it backwards as well. But what I'm going to do is, and by backwards, I mean you could put your pieces on backwards. Don't try to put it on with the flared side up like that, because it just won't work.
Any tips for keeping crystal rivets from cracking?
No, sorry. I crack about 2 out of 3 of them that I do. Sorry. So I'm going to put my washer on like this, and then I'm going to stack my components. So I'm going to put my vinyl down and then put my charm down on top of it, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Like that. And then on the back, you can see my washer would prevent any pulling from coming up through. Now, another thing that we can do if you're not confident in your eyelet setting skills is we can actually have the front of the eyelet come through the opposite way and just rivet it upside down. I'm doing it this way just so you guys can see it better. And I can elaborate on that if that's not clear. But we'll do that after the fact. So I've got everything stacked up like that. And I would recommend punching your other holes and getting everything lined up and everything ahead of time. If you're riveting down or eyelet setting down the other side, I'm just showing you techniques today. So I've got everything set. And then Alex, if you could focus on, hey, stop filming me.
You're already all filming.
If you could focus right on the tip there, I hope they're able to see this. I'm trying to be as still as I can. We're not getting a clear shot, are we? You can see a better picture on our website since it's having a hard time focusing on what this looks. There we go. So you can see there's a matching nipple on this right here. You can see a better shot on our website as well for what that looks like. So make sure that everything is lined up. We're going to put the tip of the eyelet setting tool in the tip of the rivet, or I'm sorry, the eyelet. And what we're going to do is the tap and tilt method. So instead of hammering straight down with this and going wild, what would happen there is we would kind of puff out the middle of the rivet. What we want to do is kind of flare the top of the eyelet here. And so how we're going to do that is the famous tap and tilt method. And so I'm going to do it slowly first so you can watch. I'm not actually hammering, but what I'm doing is this. So I'm tapping and tilting my eyelet setter. And then what's going to happen is it flares the top of our eyelet. So I'm going to do it now. Again, audio warning, might be loud. And we're going to jump a little bit. Okay, ready to go?
Ready.
All right. Okay, now again, you guys won't have to do it as much as I'm doing it. Remember, I've got a padded surface here to help with sound quality and to help the camera from jumping. But you can see here, if Alex, is it focused? Awesome. You can see here, we've set an eyelet, and you can see straight through that bad boy. And so it looks the same on the other side. And we did it, guys. All right.
Yay.
So quickly, I want to show you there's a wide line of other products that work with the riveting lines on our website. There's all these cool little rivetables that you can stack with your components, and you can get creative with how you apply these pieces to not only fabric and vinyl straps, but to leather and for metal as well. I love these components to apply metal to metal.
Someone asked, will the rivets fit on leather? If so, what size?
They do, yeah. Do you mean like what thickness of leather? I'm not sure if I've got a link there, but we'll come in afterwards and send you a link to all the specifics. Okay, I think we're done with that, but I just want to show you. You can do really cool mixed media projects with our art metal components line and the tiara cast lines very easily. And then quickly, because I forgot to mention it earlier, we've got different sized hole punches. This is a rotating leather punch, and so this will give you different sizes very quickly. I think we're good. I think we're ready to switch to the scary stuff now. It's not actually scary. Not for me. Might be for Alex, because we're going to be playing with fire. Now, guys, we've got about 15 minutes left. So honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through actually doing these projects, but I'm going to kind of take you through the steps that it takes to get these projects done. Alex, would you be so kind as to hand me the cookie tray? So I am going to be working with fire. I would advise you, if you are doing this at home, to make sure that you, thank you, Vanna, to make sure that you have all the proper safety precautions in place. So that means tying back long hair, taking off loose swinging jewelry, bracelets that hang down. Make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area. And get your hair out of your face. No fabric on the table, or at least have a work surface to work on if you are doing fabric on the table. So Alex, fire extinguishers there just in case, but I think we're good. All right, so this is a micro torch. We have these available in our website. Is it hand view? Can you do hand view? This is a micro torch. This is a micro butane torch. It's a really cool small torch that we use often for our metals projects. How it works is there's usually a safety on it. Then butane mixes with gas.
Take off your oxygen.
Oh yeah, definitely that. I was like, me? Anyway, so yeah, make sure you're familiar with your torch before doing this project. I want to get familiar with what the flame looks like in the camera. Well, it's not showing up as clearly. That's okay. We normally turn the lights off when we're filming tutorials for our channel. But anyway, what I'm going to be showing you is how to do this. Now, you can do this without a torch at all. You don't need a torch for this. You can use a variety of surface patina products. And so that's the hint that I was hinting at earlier. Can you bring up the discount code for Christy? So Christy Friesen, talented polymer clay artist, mixed media artist, phenomenal woman. She has come out with an incredible line of metal coatings and patinas, all different fun colors. Please don't make fun of my jars. They're old and they're dirty and I spill stuff. But you can use products like Swelligant, which is like an actual like metal coating that you can put on top of your brass blanks or copper blanks and get this look without a torch. I'm going to show you another project where we mixed that look. So on this, we used a product called Gilder's Paste. And so I don't know who has Gilder's Paste. We normally have Gilder's Paste. I think I asked, but I couldn't find my link. I would assume beadshop.com has it because they've got everything. We normally have Gilder's Paste. However, we were closed for the pandemic and a lot of our Gilder's Paste expired. So we're not going to sell expired Gilder's Paste. But it allows you to get these fun colors if you're not wanting to do the fingernail polish technique. And if you're not wanting to use a torch fired patina, you can get some fun colors with Gilder's paste. Now, Gilder's paste looks like this. And you use
That's beard balm.
It looks like beard balm, yeah. We can try it out.
Would it turn my beard cold?
It would. So you can use Gilder's paste to do the same effect. You can use Swelligant to do the same effect. Christy was telling me last night that you can put some Swelligant on cardstock, let it kind of thicken up a little bit, turn it into a paste, and it does the exact same thing. So there's some beautiful colors. And then the discount code for Christy's site is TGBX for 10% off anything on Christy's site. And we'll get a link down there below. And then also, I'm sure you've watched.
There won't be a link, but, right?
I meant after the fact.
Oh, sure.
Sorry. So you can go to Christy's site. She's got a lot of awesome mixed media art supplies on her site and get some of these cool surface patinas like Swelligant.
How do you seal with Gilder's paste?
So you can use Ren Wax, or you can use a spray sealer. Christy has a really cool sealer too. This is matte finish clear sealant, and so I like that product as well. Honestly, I would watch some of the Allegory Gallery and beadshop.com content because they're pros at surface patinas. I just like to experiment and have fun. I'm more of like a primitive, like wire it on, hammer it, light it on fire kind of metal artist. If you aren't familiar with my tutorials. So you can just kind of experiment and have some fun with the products that we're using. Okay, so I'm going to show you what a torch firing patina looks like. This is a raw brass cuff. We have these in a variety of sizes and domes and stuff listed on our website. We've got some of our favorites in the category. And then we're gonna get a link in the chat. Should be one of the very last ones, brass cuff bases. Thank you. And if you would drop the torch in there too, that'd be cool. We don't sell butane. You can get butane at your local hardware store. So what we're going to do to get a really cool torch fired patina on this is we're just going to light it on fire. So again, safety precautions, get everything flammable out of your way, and then have a fire extinguisher or a bowl of water or something. It's really humid where we live, and I'm trying to ignite my torch. It was just on a minute ago. You guys saw it. There we go. So you can see that you want to put the inner blue flame pointed at your work. I hope these colors are showing up on screen. Is it showing? So you can see we're starting to get some blue. I'm not going to lift it, guys, because that's unsafe. I don't want to practice unsafe practices, especially live streaming. But you can see we're just getting some color development here. And again, sit with your shoulders back. Don't put your face directly over your work. Don't breathe all that in. Butane's a relatively safe gas, but it's, never a good idea to breathe it in. So you can see we're developing some color. Now, copper is going to develop a little quicker than brass in my experience. And I'm not going to fully torch fire patina this. I just wanted to show you how the color develops. Through movie magic, I'm going to carefully hand this to you to get it out of my way. Very careful because it's hot. Movie magic. I already did one. So this is one that I have.
Cooking show.
Yeah, torch fire patina. Can you hand me my oval mandrel? Oh, I'm sorry the color wasn't showing up on screen, guys. Yeah, the band does get really hot. So I would always recommend using a specific. We do, but we don't have them listed online right now. We closed out. We had to close our metalsmithing studio because of the pandemic. And so just message us and we'll get you one. Otherwise, I'm sure a lot of the other vendors have them in stock. When you're handling your hot metal, For torch fire patinas, I do not like to quench it to quickly cool it because that can mess with some of the coloring. And if you develop fire scale, what can happen is it can shock the metal and send a lot of that flying off. So I always like to let it slowly cool down. But when you're handling it, I like to use just a pair of pliers that I'm comfortable with just to handle it and get it out of the way. When you are holding it in the flame, make sure that you're using something that's not going to transfer the heat back to your hand, or just don't hold it in the flame at all. And again, I'm sorry that color development wasn't showing on screen for you guys. It was almost like you couldn't see my flame because of the bright lights, but you can see some more projects like this on our YouTube channel. So what I like to do to get even more fun on my work is I will put this on a mandrel. You can flatten it out and work flat first. Our cuffs come already cuff shaped. I like to take a chasing hammer. Let me see. Oh, I've got 5 minutes left. I got to hurry up. I like to use a chasing hammer and just hammer the very edges to give me an organic look. You can use the ball peen side to get ripply edges. You can use the chasing hammer side to get these cool dents to make this look super old. Whatever you want to do. There's a wide variety of hammers too. Like we've got 9-face interchangeable head hammers on our website. You can use the Brenda Schwader hammer. She's got an incredible set of really high quality hammers. And so we'll try to go in after the fact and add links to that. I'm not sure if you saw any of her presentations that she's done in our Great Bead Extravaganza events, but she's got these incredible hammers that create fantastic textures on your work. But you can get really cool designs just with your basic tools too. So now that I've demonstrated hammering, what I'm going to do is show you how we get, well, from A to B. So I like to go in and mark my holes with a Sharpie. So I'll find the piece I want to use, line it up. And again, these are pewter, so they're soft. So am I on full screen here? Okay. Can I see where I am? Thank you. So I like to just take my thumbs and just gently bend and match everything to the bend of my cuff. You can go in gently with a nylon hammer and hammer down to shape it. But because the pewter is so soft, you can just do it with your thumbs. Now again, like I said, you can match everything to your holes, or match everything to the holes in your pendant. Mark it with Sharpie, and then what we're going to do is punch a hole in it. So I'm going to use the big side of my block here. This is a 2-hole punch. They're awesome. We've got them on our website. You just line it up with your Sharpie mark and then screw it down. What are you doing?
Just new boot goofing.
New boot goofing? All right. I don't even have, don't tell anybody, I don't have shoes on.
You said it.
So you screw down until it punches through your metal, and then we unscrew. And what I like to do sometimes is put like a polish pad or a cloth between my metal and the top of the tool here so that nothing gets scratched, but that's not entirely necessary. So I've got a hole there. Now, I would punch holes, line it all up and everything if I didn't have like 2 minutes left, literally. But I'm going to do this real quick, guys. I'm going to take some 26 gauge craft wire. This is something anyone can do. And I am just going to lash it together with my wire. Okay. So we have 26 gauge craft wire in our brick and mortar shop. We don't have it online yet. We're a growing small business, and we just haven't gotten to that point yet. But you can find craft wire like this at on Softflex's website, and then also on beadshop.com. They've got a wide selection of 26 gauge craft wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to lash. So I've lined up this hole, and what I'm going to do is just sew my component on. So I'm going to go about halfway through. Oh, I wish you guys could see that better. It's like it's dark all of a sudden because I've got a black background. So I'm just going to sew it through. I'm going to take my wire.
Rita Koch or Rita Koch noticed the Reno 911 reference. So.
Oh.
Nice. Extra credit to you.
So all I'm doing here is just sewing this together with my wire.
And everybody is telling you how awesome you are.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
Great information in short time. You're doing great. Fantastic job, Abby.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful treasure. Great work, Abby and Alex.
Thank you.
Abby, thank you so much for sharing your time and talent for a great project. You want me to keep going? I can keep going.
I'll read them after the fact. Thank you, though.
It's nice to enjoy them in the moment.
So I like to do at least 3 lashes like this, and then I like to take my end wire and secure it in the back. Now, I know I'm out of time, and I'm sorry, guys, I ran out of time, but I just want to show you the finished products real quick and what you can do with this if you don't want to invest in riveting tools or any of the fancy metal smithing supplies. You can use those surface patinas. You know, get creative, hammer using the stuff you've got in your basement, or invest in the fun stuff. But you can just use a variety of techniques. Or if you're not interested in anything that I've done today, you can still appreciate the beautiful art metal components and create just fun and funky, organic styled additions to your jewelry, or use them as focals or centerpieces. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to take my hair down. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this group. I'm amazed of just by everyone's presentations so far, and I can't wait to relax and be done.
Thank you for the great ideas. Thank you. So super fun.
Thank you. So we've got a 15-minute break before the next presentation starts. Oh my gosh. Is it the Goody Beads one next? I'm so sorry. I don't know. I know who was before me. So Kayla of Dakota Stones and Tori of Goody Beads are up next at time zones confuse me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to look it up. But in about 15 minutes, their time slot is starting. And thanks for spending your Super Bowl Sunday with us, guys. Thanks. Bye.